Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the beautiful quiz. You know, it's been 66 days since the UK entered lockdown, which is interesting because 66 is such a significant number in football. 66 was the number of goals that Paolo Di Canio scored in the Premier League. 66 was also the number of Premier League appearances that Paul Gascoigne made. And 66 these days is the number of miles in an eye test. So it's interesting. Now, if you knew that or any one of those answers, then you are in the right place because we are about to get going with the biggest, most comprehensive live interactive quiz available on a Thursday night on BT. It is the beautiful quiz. If you haven't registered yet, get along to btsport.com/the beautiful quiz. Get yourself in there, and then you'll soon be competing with quizzes up and down the country and following your progress, of course, on those exciting leaderboards, which update in real time. That all sounds very exciting, and it gets even better when you hear who we've got on as our special guest for today's quiz. Let's meet them. Bingo! Steve Sidwell and Chelcee Grimes. Steve
Hello.
Sidwell, famous to us all for his past with Chelsea and Reading, etc. Chelcee Grimes with Fulham and songwriter and song singer. And you've spent lockdown getting to number one in South Korea. Is that right, Chelsea?
Yeah, I wrote a few songs. I done a song that went to number one, in South Korea and 15 countries. And then I done a song on the new Dua Lipa album, which was number one in the UK and a load more countries. So yeah, not a bad lockdown for me, James.
No, I made some banana bread. So there's that. Steve, what have you been up to?
I have actually been learning to cook. Been cooking some good meals on a Saturday. Fortunate enough to do it with a Michelin star chef on Zoom. So what should take probably an hour and a half end up taking 2.5, 3 hours. So dinner is quite late on a Saturday.
Right, but made with love, Steve. That's important. Because the big question is whether you've been practicing your quizzing. I know, Chelsea, you've done a phenomenal number of quizzes over the last couple of months.
I've done a lot, but I haven't won many. So yeah, I think I've got no pressures on me tonight. No pressure.
Okay. Well, you're used to working with good beats. You might be handing one out this evening, or maybe not. We're going to discover. But before we go any further, we should meet the other and perhaps most vital component of our crew here, and that is our quiz question setter, Duncan Alexander. Hello, Duncan. Question
Hello,
one
James.
from me has to be, what's going on up here? What's that?
What do you mean? It's called hair, I think.
The Cristiano Ronaldo tribute you got going on.
Well, it's a lovely touch for Ronaldo to emulate me. So yeah, I'm proud actually. But yeah, looking forward to tonight's quiz. 6 more rounds. You were going on about the number 66 at the start. For me, it's all about the number 2 because Steve Sidwell, who's our guest tonight, last player in the Premier League to be sent off in consecutive appearances. So let's hope he lasts till the end of tonight's quiz.
Right, indeed so. Indeed so. All right, well, if you haven't registered yet, get along to btsport.com/the beautiful quiz and enter your team name. And as I say, you can follow your progress and all that kind of thing. It's very exciting. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on how Steve and Chelsea are getting along and how they compare with everybody everybody else who's taking part in the quiz. Brilliant. That's enough of me blabbing on. Let's get going. We've got 6 rounds, as Duncan mentioned, of football questions. You enter the answers on your app, on your tablet or phone or whatever device you're using. Once you've submitted an answer, you can't retract it, sadly. But, you know, it's all part of the fun of the game. And that's what the quiz is for, fun. If we're all set then, let's get quizzing. Round 1 is all about Premier League hat-tricks. It is multiple choice. You get 15 seconds per game, and per question, rather. And it all starts now. Okay, question 1 then on Premier League hat-tricks. Who is the highest scoring Premier League player to never score a hat-trick in the competition? Highest scoring Premier League player who never scored a hat-trick in the competition. Is it Craig Bellamy, Ryan Giggs or John Hartson? Interesting one to start with there. On to question 2. Which player has scored the most hat-tricks in Premier League history? 3 illustrious names, but which one has the most hat-tricks in Premier League history? Sergio Aguero, Harry Kane, or Alan Shearer? Question 3. In 2007-2008, Emmanuel Adebayor became the first player to score home and away hat-tricks against the same side in one Premier League season. Who were the unlucky opponents? Was it Blackburn Rovers? Was it Derby County? Or was it Fulham? Okay, question 4 then. Which of those players there has not scored 5 or more goals in a single Premier League game? 2 of those 3 have scored 5 or more goals in a single Premier League game. Which one hasn't? Is it Berbatov, Defoe, or Thierry Henry? On to question 5. Who holds the record for scoring the fastest ever Premier League hat-trick, netting 3 goals in just 2 minutes and 56 seconds against Aston Villa? Your options here: Robbie Fowler, Sadio Mane, or Michael Owen. Question 6. Anfield is the ground that has seen more hat-tricks than any other in the Premier League. But which of these 3 players has not scored a hat-trick there? Andre Arshavin, Yossi Benayoun, or Daniel Sturridge? Question 7. In 2003, who became the oldest player to score a Premier League hat-trick? Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, or Chris Sutton? The oldest player to score a Premier League hat-trick. Question 8, if you are ready. Which of these players has not scored a Premier League hat-trick for 3 different clubs? Remarkably, 2 of those men have. One of them hasn't scored a Premier League hat-trick for 3 different clubs. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Les Ferdinand, or Yakubu? Question 9. Who scored a hat-trick on the opening weekend of the 2019-2020 season? Seems a long time ago now, but back on opening weekend. Tammy Abraham, Harry Kane, or Raheem Sterling. One of them scored a hat-trick. Which one? And the final question of this round. Which of these players, Eric Cantona, Shinji Kagawa, and Paul Scholes, has not scored a Premier League hat-trick for Manchester United? One of those 3 hasn't scored a hat-trick in the Premier League for Man United. But who? That was pretty brutal, wasn't it? Chelsea, Steve, what did you think?
That's the one thing I didn't look. I didn't look at hat-tricks. I didn't revise that. Yeah, I just guessed. I might as well have done that.
Well, yeah, maybe it's worked out for you. Steve, what did you think?
I done okay, but there was a few of them I got timed out with, and I started panicking and flapping. I'm absolutely sweating here, by the way.
Right, nice. Okay, well, let's get you some answers then. First of all, who is the highest scoring Premier League player to never score a hat-trick in the competition? This might surprise you, Duncan?
It might, yeah. It's Ryan Giggs.
Crikey. All right. Question 2. Oh, sorry, Chelsea.
Sorry, I just said I think I got that one right.
Hooray! Okay. Question 2. Which player has scored the most hat-tricks in Premier League history, Duncan?
Achieved this quite recently, Sergio Aguero. Perhaps more importantly for me, he's got 18 headed goals in the Premier League, despite being 2 inches shorter than Taylor Swift. So there's not much you can't do.
That's incredible. Okay, question 3. Who was it? Who was the unlucky team that Emmanuel Adebayor scored hat-tricks home and away against?
It was Derby County, or that Derby County as they're known.
That Derby County. Excellent. Steve and Chelsea, what did you have as the player who didn't score 5 or more goals in a single Premier League game? Berbatov, Defoe, or Thierry Henry?
It was Thierry Henry.
Berbatov.
Berbatov's got 5 and Defoe got 5.
Yeah, Thierry Henry. That's the answer, all right. Okay. There's a long way to go, Chelsea. Don't worry. Duncan, on to question 5. Who holds the record for scoring the fastest ever Premier League hat-trick in a blistering 2 minutes, 56 seconds?
Yeah, pretty quick, that, for me. That would be Sadio Mane. 80% of his goals have come within 2 miles of the English coast, which, I don't know, is that good? Possibly is good. But including this hat-trick, of course.
Yes, indeed so. Southampton against Aston Villa. Anfield, is that within 2 miles of the English coast? Does that count?
Anfield would count. This was when he was playing for Southampton, but yeah, he
Yes.
just loves the coast. Yes. So anyone who wants to set up a football team on a beach, he is your first signing by a country mile. Or 2
Brilliant.
miles.
All right. Worth knowing. Okay, I've lost which question we. Oh, question 6. Anfield has seen, interestingly, more hat-tricks than any other ground, but which one of these players has not scored a hat-trick there?
Daniel Sturridge.
Oh,
Indeed.
I knew I should have said him.
Well, yes. Yeah. Steve, you're also grimacing.
Yeah, that was the one that I wouldn't have got it right. I went with Benayoun because I knew Arsenal
me
got one
too.
with Arsenal. Yeah, but I
The
didn't click in
innit?
time.
I remember him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
It's a tough mistress, this game, but fair. Question 7, Duncan. In 2003, who became the oldest player to score a Premier League hat-trick?
That was Teddy Sheringham.
Good. Okay.
Whatever question I'm going to go with, I'm going to go for the opposite one.
In which way, Chelsea? Sorry.
Because it was between Teddy or Chris, because you spoke about Chris before, I just went with him.
Right.
But on the question before that, I should have went with Daniel, but it's fine. I know what I'm doing now.
Okay, excellent news. Only one round in. Question 9. Who scored a hat-trick on the opening weekend of this season? Who was it, Duncan? Oh, I'm sorry. Question 8.
Yeah.
I do beg your pardon. Which of those players has not scored a Premier League hat-trick for 3 different clubs?
That was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Oh.
Indeed it was. On to that question 9 then. Who was it who got the hat-trick on the opening weekend of the season?
Well, it seems a long time ago, and it is also a long time ago. It was Raheem Sterling.
It was indeed. All right, question 10. Steve and Chelsea, which one of those 3 players hasn't scored a Premier League hat-trick for Manchester United?
I said
went with
Scholes,
Eric.
but whatever.
You've gone with
I
Eric,
suppose
Steve, and
Scholes
what do you
scored
reckon,
3
Chelsea?
I said Scholes because I can't remember him scoring a hat-trick, but...
And yet he has. It's Eric Cantona, remarkably. Never got a Premier League hat-trick for Man United. All right, well, we're going to tot up the scores for you guys. And Duncan, just tell us, do we have anyone with a perfect score from... Well, there we go. Steve, the early leader.
Tragic.
7 out of 10. Chelsea, a respectable 4 out of 10. As I say,
I mean,
a
I got
lot
the
of
Liverpool
quizzing.
one right, so I'm all right.
Yeah.
It's a marathon,
Duncan.
not a sprint. Yes. We have, we've got quite a few people on 10 out of 10 so far. So, we've seen this before. A lot of people, do well in the first round, but can they maintain it for the rest of the quiz? We'll see.
Yeah. They do a Blackburn up there at the top of the season, and then it all falls away. All right, let's see what round 2 does to those perfect scores. It's all about the FA Cup. It's going to be multiple choice again. And again, you've only got 15 seconds to get your answers in. Here comes round 2. Question 1. Who were the first club to win the FA Cup when the final moved from Wembley to Cardiff in 2001? Arsenal, Liverpool and Man United are the options. We want the first club to win the Cup when the final moved from Wembley down to Cardiff when they were redoing Wembley. Question 2. Who's the only English manager to win the FA Cup in the 21st century? Steve Bruce, Alan King-Pardew, or window-rolling Harry Redknapp? Those are your options. Only English manager to win the FA Cup in the 21st century. Question 3. Which club has won the FA Cup more than any other? Arsenal, Chelsea or Man United? The big clubs, one of them's won that competition more than any other. Chelsea's looking confident here.
I knew that one.
Question 4. Which of these players has not been sent off in an FA Cup final? Steven Gerrard, Jose Reyes, or Chris Smalling? The player who hasn't been sent off in an FA Cup final. Question 5. Who were the last side from outside the top flight to reach the FA Cup final? Cardiff City, Sunderland, or Wigan Athletic? Last team from outside the Premier League to reach the FA Cup final. On to question 6 then. Who is the only player to play for a winning side in an FA Cup final at each of the old Wembley Stadium, the new Wembley Stadium, and the Millennium Stadium in between? Crikey. One player has won the FA Cup at all 3 of those grounds, but which one of them was it? We're moved on now. Question 7. Who scored the winning goal in the first FA Cup final at the new Wembley Stadium? When it came back to Wembley, who scored the winning goal in that first FA Cup final in Neasden? Di Matteo, Drogba, Lampard. Chelsea, you're not even connecting with your device. I think that might be where you're going wrong, actually. We're up to question 8. Arsenal and Man United in 2005. That was the first ever FA Cup final to be decided on penalties. Who was the only player to miss in the shootout? Billy, 15 seconds isn't long, is it? Question 9 then. Who is the only teenager to score in an FA Cup final in the 21st century? Owen, Rooney, or Ronaldo? One of those scored in an FA Cup final in his teens. The only guy to do that in the 21st century. And question 10. Which of these 3 sides has not won the FA Cup in back-to-back seasons? So 2 cups in a row. Which one of those 3 clubs has not achieved that remarkable feat? Arsenal, Chelsea, or Liverpool? Wow. Well, if you weren't sweating before, Steve, you certainly will be now. That was brutal. It was breakneck. But what has it done to your score, I wonder?
Yeah, that was pretty difficult. That I was getting a bit torn with the old Wembley as well and the Millennium.
Right.
It threw me out, but I think I've done okay.
Okay, we'll see. Chelsea, interesting as well. We're going to see how your kind of Padawan Jedi, concentrate, use the Force technique is going to work out in terms of nailing the right answers. I'm quite confident.
She seemed very
on your
happy.
behalf.
She had a little dance going away as well, didn't she?
I knew a few of
yeah.
them. I done better this round than the last one.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see, Chelsea. We'll see. Duncan, let's get some answers. FA Cup. Who were the first club to win the FA Cup when the final moved from Wembley to Cardiff in 2001?
Well, it was nearly Arsenal, but it was actually Liverpool who came from behind, if you remember.
Liverpool is the correct answer. Question 2, Steve and Chelsea. Steve, what did you put for this? The only English manager to win the FA Cup in the 21st century.
It's got to be Harry, isn't it, from Portsmouth when they won it?
Right. Chelsea, what do you have?
I got that wrong. I said Steve Bruce. I don't know. I like him. He's got a characterful face, so I'm for him.
And that should count for something, but sadly it doesn't under Duncan's harsh rules. No, it is of course Harry Redknapp. Duncan, question 3: Which club has won the FA Cup more than any other?
Arsenal, including 3 times between 2014 and 17 in a kind of late Wenger period when it was quite good.
Right. Chelsea, did you get that one?
I did get that one, James.
Boom. All right. Excellent. You're on your way. Question 4. Which of these players has not been sent off in an FA Cup final? Gerrard, Reyes, or Smalling?
That would be Steven Gerrard.
Has not been sent off in an FA Cup final, correct. Okay. Duncan, who were the last side from outside the top flight to reach an FA Cup final?
This was Cardiff. For me, more impressive that the last time they were in the Premier League, they shot from the kickoff in one of their games at Wembley Stadium, maybe a tribute to their cup final. But yeah, it's Cardiff.
All right. Steve, we heard a gasp there.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I went Wigan. I got confused because people actually confused me with Ben Watson, believe it or not. And yeah, I did score the winner in that game.
Remarkable. Okay, what are we up to now? Question 6. Who is the only player to play for a winning side in an FA Cup final at each of the old Wembley Stadium, the new Wembley Stadium, and the Millennium in between? Who was that then?
Tricky one, this. That was Patrick Vieira, who did it for Arsenal at the first 2, if you like, and then at the new Wembley with Manchester City. So yeah.
Wow. could see the scores swinging around here. Chelsea was 3 points behind, but looking confident at the moment. Question 7 then. Who scored the winning goal in the first FA Cup final at the new Wembley Stadium?
That was Didier Drogba, a man with 9 cup final goals in his career. Something of a specialist.
Okay. The first ever FA Cup final to be decided on penalties. Arsenal-Man United in 2005. Who did you have as the one player to miss in the shootout, Chelsea?
James, why do you keep coming to me when I'm not confident?
Steve, how did you go on this one?
I guess.
I went for Van the Man. I didn't see Roy Keane taking one, and Scholesy must have scored. So I went for Rude.
And yet the answer is Paul Scholes. Remarkable.
Oh, no.
Duncan? Yeah. The only teenager to score in an FA Cup final in the 21st century. Who is it?
It's Cristiano Ronaldo, also the only man to ever score against all of Iran, North Korea and Millwall, which was the game in question. Yeah.
Right. The hat-trick of rogue states. Remarkable. Question 10 then, to finish off this round. Which of these sides has not won the FA Cup in back-to-back seasons?
That is Liverpool.
Right. Okay. Excellent. We're just going to tot up the scores for Steve and Chelsea. And while we're doing... Oh, look, they're there already. Still 3 points. So...
I don't know
you're
right there,
keeping
though.
pace.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. 10 out of 20. All right. And what about you, Steve? Do you feel that maybe you could be upping your game a little bit?
Yeah. I flustered on the first round, and I weren't particularly happy on that one. So I need a big round here.
Right. Well, this next one is a big round, not least because you will get 40 seconds for each one of your answers, but you have to do some typing with that. Duncan, meantime, in the leaderboard nationwide, how many perfect scores have we got now?
Well, that round proved tricky for the general public. We've now no one's on full marks after 2 rounds. We've got 7 people on 19, including a winner of week 1. Well, it might not be the winner of week 1. It might be someone who's stolen his name, but Aid is up there, and someone called Steve Didwell, which rhymes with Steve Sidwell. People might have noticed, but yeah. So all to play for.
Brilliant stuff.
And
All right,
I'm
round
happy
3.
sitting in
Then.
524.
Is that where you are, Chelsea?
Yeah, and I'm proud, James. 10 out of 20. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you're top. You're in three figures. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And let's move on to round 3 then. This time we're looking for the name of the player that the clue describes. We're only going to give you 5 questions, but we will, as I mentioned, give you 40 seconds to answer each one of them. But you will have to type in your answer on these ones, so you have to be careful with the spelling. Wow. Okay, round 3 then. Here it comes. Question 1. Who's this? I moved from the Netherlands to England in 2004. I won the FA Cup in my first season in England. I scored a famous World Cup header, and I won the Premier League Golden Boot in back-to-back seasons. Which player is that? Moved from the Netherlands to England in 2004, won the FA Cup in their first season in England, scored a very famous World Cup header, and won the Premier League Golden Boot in back-to-back seasons.
This is going to be hard.
Chelsea, you know that one, no?
I mean, I don't know, I guess.
We'll see. Okay, question 2. I made my first Premier League appearance in the same team as Tony Cottee, and my last in the same team as Sergio Aguero. I've won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League, and the Europa League too, and I've scored more goals from outside the box than any other player in Premier League history. Made my first Premier League appearance in the same team as Tony Cottee, and my last in the same team as Sergio Aguero. I won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League, and the Europa League, and this is key, I've scored more goals from outside the box than any other player in Premier League history. Question 3. Who does this description apply to? I was born in East London and finished my Premier League career in East London. I was the first Englishman to score in a Champions League final, and I am the oldest goal scorer in Premier League history. Write the CV that. I was born in East London, finished my career in East London. I was the first Englishman to score in a Champions League final, and I'm the oldest goal scorer in Premier League history. First Englishman to score in a Champions League final, Chelsea. Who would that be?
I don't know that. I don't know.
It's a really
I'd love you
famous
to help
final.
me right now.
All right,
I know
question
it.
4.
I know it.
Question 4. I made my Premier League debut as a teenager, and I've won the League Cup with 2 different clubs. I scored in England's 5-1 win in Germany, and I played league football in Australia. What a colourful life. Premier League debut as a teenager, won the League Cup with 2 different clubs, scored in England's 5-1 in Germany, and played league football in Australia. Who could that be? Another player scored in Germany in that game, but not many of them then went on to play in Australia. Our man did. Who is he? And when you're wrapped up with that, our final question from the Who Am I round. I was born in North America, played for Wales under-19, and made my league debut in Germany. I was the only player to score a penalty for England in their shootout defeat to Portugal in the 2006 World Cup. That should narrow it down. So born in North America, played for Wales under-19, and made my league debut in Germany. Narrow it down a bit, this. And I was the only player to score a penalty for England in the shootout defeat to Portugal in the 2006 defeat in the World Cup in Germany. Who was that then? And that brings round 3 to a conclusion. Alrighty. Well, do you want some answers?
Yes, please.
Yeah, all of them, please.
All right then. Okay, well, first of all, moved from Netherlands to England in 2004, won the FA Cup in the first season in England, scored that very famous World Cup header, and won the Premier League Golden Boot in back-to-back seasons. Duncan, it can only be...
If we'd have put he appeared in episode 2 of the Beautiful Quiz, everyone would have got it. It's Robin van Persie.
Indeed
Oh.
so. Yeah.
How did I not know
Steve?
Yeah, I got that. Yep.
Okay, good. Question 2. I made my first Premier League appearance in the same team as Tony Cottee, my last one in the same side as Sergio Aguero. I won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League and the Europa League, and I scored more goals from outside the area than outside the box than any other player in Premier League history.
It can only be Frank Lampard.
It can only be Frank Lampard. Steve, one of your teammates, of course, at Chelsea.
Yes, Frank was class on and off the pitch, the way he conducted himself, and I've said it time before, and many others have. I've never seen someone train as hard as him, and what he's achieved in football literally is no fluke. He deserved absolutely everything, and I'm glad I got that. I literally would type that in at the very. I had 1 second to spare with that. My typing was all over the place, so I got it.
Right. Okay. Chelsea?
No, I didn't get any.
All right.
I am 4 drinks in, guys. I'm just going to blame it on that.
Okay. Fair. You're enjoying yourself.
All majors
In a
into
sense,
one.
you're the real winner here, Chelsea. Let's move on to question 3.
I like that.
I was born in East London and finished my Premier League career in East London. I was the first Englishman to score in a Champions League final, and I am the oldest goal scorer in Premier League history. Duncan.
Teddy Sheringham. He was nearer to 41 than 40 when he scored his final Premier League goal. That's how it works.
Magnificent. All
I
right.
was too late to type
Question
that.
4. Steve, did you get this one? Made Premier League debut as a teenager. I've won the League Cup with 2 different clubs. Scored in the 5-1 in Germany for England. And I've played league football in Australia. Did you get that, Steve?
I put Emil Heskey down. I'm not sure if it's correct. I think it is.
Well, give yourself a big pat on the back because it is the Hesk. And question 5. I was born in North America, played for Wales under-19, made my league debut in Germany, and I was the only player to score a penalty for England in their shootout defeat to Portugal in the 2006 World Cup. It is, Duncan.
It's your Bundesliga friend, Owen Hargreaves.
Right. Excellent. It is Owen Hargreaves. Chelsea, how you doing?
Yeah, I did. I should just get another drink.
Bingo. While you do that, I should turn my dishwasher off. I don't know if you could hear it going beep,
I was
beep,
gonna
beep in the
say.
background. Yeah.
It was
We
all
could
my
kind of-
wrong answers.
Yeah. It's the wrong answer detector going off again. All right. Well, how are we doing for scores then? Let's have a look.
I literally didn't get any. But I did get
Oh,
10
my
in Sheringham,
word.
but then I missed it.
Right. Steve, yeah. Okay. How are you feeling about that, Steve?
On that round, you have to type the actual names correctly. I take it.
I believe that's part of the quiz.
Yeah, I think I've spelled Van Persie wrong then because I got them all right. But there we go.
Did you put it with a
I'm better
Y?
English at school.
Right. Or Dutch in this case.
I think it was a spell checker that done me on the phone.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Same.
That's unfortunate for you. Duncan, how are our leaders doing?
Well, overall, we've had more than 200 people getting 5 out of 5 in that round, so hats off to them. At the top, it's a 4-way battle as it stands, including Steve Didwell, who continues to lead Steve Sidwell. But it's the big four.
Steve, do you feel quite flattered that there's somebody there who's playing with a homage to your own name?
Well, he's definitely doing well. So he's backing himself by changing the surname to Didwell when he certainly is doing well. So fair play to him.
Right, mind you, Chelsea, there's an entire club out there playing with your moniker, so that's very impressive. Right, up next, this is exciting. Up next, it's the video round. We've got some action to show you. We're only going to have 5 questions in this round. You're going to get 30 seconds each time. It's all about the Champions League, and we got a little bit of video on a couple of the questions, so pay attention to that and then answer the question. And this is what round 4 looks like. Where are we? We're in Moscow. Look, it's the first all-English Champions League final. Man United and Chelsea on that rainy night in the Russian capital. Hey, what year was that, though? The first all-English Champions League final. What year did it take place? I say the first because there's been another one since, of course. Last season's Champions League final where Liverpool beat Spurs. But this one here was a while back. To give you an idea, this might help you, Chelsea. Madonna was top of the charts with 4 minutes, featuring Timberlake and Timberland. Film fans, Iron Man was top of the box office chart. I'm not sure if it was Iron Man 1. I think it might have been Iron Man 2 at that point. I'm not sure. Let's concentrate on the Madonna aspect. Oh, look, we're on to question 2. Who is the only English player to score in a Champions League final for a non-English club? Okay? Non-English club, but an English player scored for them in a Champions League final. Who is it? 6 Englishmen, by the way, have scored in a Champions League final, but this is the only one who's done it for a team that wasn't English. Who is it? Looking for the only Englishman to score a Champions League final goal for a non-English club. Question 3 then. In 2005, who created 2 records by scoring the fastest ever goal in a Champions League final and becoming the oldest goal scorer ever in a Champions League final? Who would this be then? Fastest ever goal in a Champions League final and becoming the oldest goal scorer in a Champions League final. It all happened in 2005, but to which famous player? There have been 76 goals scored in Champions League finals by 61 different players. Which one is it? Now, question 4. Oh my word, look at this. This was Barcelona in 2017. Remember how they'd lost 4-0 to PSG in Paris? And everyone thought they were out of the competition. But then they took PSG back to the Camp Nou and beat them 6-1 in the remontada. Our question is, who was the Arsenal manager? Sorry, who was the PSG manager? I've just given a little bit of a hint there. Who was the PSG manager? Who was the PSG manager on whose watch did that calamitous collapse happen? And question 5. Since 2003-04, which player has scored more direct free kick goals in the Champions League than any other player. Since 2003-04, and including that season, which player has scored more direct free kick goals in the Champions League than anybody else? Might surprise you, the answer to this, or maybe it might not. Which player has had the most free kick goals in the Champions League direct free kicks? Excellent. Very good. Well then, Steve, did you have enough time to get your answers in on that one?
Yeah, I did, but no, I done okay. I think I done all right on that. I don't know what my spelling was like again, but I think I done all right.
All right. Chelsea, no question, you're the real winner tonight. Look at you enjoying yourself.
Ooh, I think I feel like I got like 2 maybe, but I think I spelled his name wrong. So yeah.
Okay. Let's find out, shall we? The answers. The first All-English Champions League final took place in what year?
That was back in 2008.
Indeed it was.
I was there.
Okay then. Question 2. Who is the only English player to score in a Champions League final for a non-English club?
That is Steve McManaman for Real Madrid.
Certainly is. Did you get this, Steve, Chelsea?
Yeah, I got that.
I should have.
I got that. Good volley.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was just before
Chelsea.
my time. Now I just started watching football then. Like I remember it on like a massive square TV. Like I was a kid.
Right. Okay. Question 3. Who created 2 records by scoring the fastest ever goal in a Champions League final and becoming the oldest goal scorer in a Champions League final? Chelsea, this is within your frame of reference, I'm guessing, yeah? Do you know who this is?
Know this one. No, I didn't
Well, it was
know.
an early goal in perhaps the most famous final of all. Steve, did you get this?
I didn't actually
Maldini.
know, but now you just said
It was
now you just
Maldini.
said that.
Maldini. I know. Why didn't I think of that? I've been watching that so much as well. Yeah, now you've said it, obviously, Maldini.
Yeah. Yes, anyway, so that was Maldini. Question 4. Duncan, who was the Paris Saint-Germain manager when they lost 6-1 at Barcelona in 2017?
Well, he did go on to manage Arsenal. It was Unai Emery.
It certainly was. All
I
right,
spelled
then.
his name wrong now.
Okay. How did you spell it, Chelsea?
With an I at the end of Emery.
Ah,
You got to give it to her,
I said
surely.
Scouse.
Surely.
I'm not
Steve,
sure.
stop it. I'm tough competition. You can't just give me the point. It's like giving Liverpool the title without finishing the remainder of the games, okay?
Oh, I
interesting.
like that. That is good.
Perspective. Not sure how many comparisons stand up between your performance tonight and Liverpool's campaign so far in the Premier League, Chelsea, but, you know, we'll try that one. Fine. Chelsea, number 5 then. Since 2003-04, which player has scored more direct free kick goals in the Champions League than any other player? Stephen, Chelsea, did you get this one?
I said Messi, but I don't know. That's just a guess.
I said Ronaldo.
Right. And it is Ronaldo, which is funny because the kind of popular notion is that he takes a lot of free kicks but doesn't usually score them. But in actual fact, Duncan, he does.
Well, it's quite a long time period, and he hasn't scored one in the Champions League for nearly 4 years. But obviously, in the 2000s in particular, he was very good. So, yeah.
Right, well, there you go. All right, what's that done to the scores? We'll add up for Chelsea and... Oh, there you are. Steve, 21 out of 30. So how did you do on that round?
Well, 4 out of 5. Maldini done me on that. A bit disappointed with that one. 2005, I should have known that.
Yeah. Chelsea, unless I'm mistaken, you picked up a point.
I did, yeah. And I should have got Unai Emery as well, but I spelled it wrong, but it's fine. Like I said, I'm the winner. I've won already.
Yeah. Well, I think we all are. Splendid. Well, if you guys are ready...
Winning.
Yes. If the sting was long enough, I'd leap to get it. But let's have a quick look at the overall leaderboard, Duncan.
Yeah, a lot of people found that round harder than the previous one. The big four has now become the big three. We've got Aid, Sloth Sharon, and our old friend Steve Didwell on 29. So good scores. And yeah, let's see which of those is going to falter in the next round.
Okay, only 2 rounds to go. The next of which is the missing link round. I'm going to give you 4 names and tell you what connects them. We want you to provide the missing 5th name. You will have 40 seconds to think up your answer and then type it in. And of course, take care with your spelling. If you're ready, the missing link round starts now. Okay, we're looking for the 5 keepers with the most Premier League clean sheets. We provided 4 of them: Petr Cech, Mark Schwarzer, David Seaman and Nigel Martyn. Who's the missing man there? The top 5 clean sheets from Premier League keepers. Who's missing from that list? Of course, it's a category that's led by Petr Cech with 202 clean sheets. Oof. Mark Schwarzer got 151, David Seaman 141, and Nigel Martyn ended his career with 137. One other man makes the top 5. What's his name? Somebody with a lot of clean sheets in the Premier League. On to question 2. The 5 teams that begin with a vowel that have played in the Premier League. We've provided you with 4: Arsenal, Aston Villa, Everton, Oldham Athletic. Which is the other one? Which is the 5th team that has featured in the Premier League that has a name that begins with a vowel? A, E, I, O, or U? Some people might include Y, but luckily that's not really an issue. Yeovil notwithstanding, we're looking for teams that have featured in the Premier League, and there's one other team that has a name that begins with a vowel. All good there, Chelsea?
Boss me.
All right. 5 permanent Man United managers in the Premier League. 5 permanent Man United managers in the Premier League. We've got Sir Alex Ferguson, David Moyes, Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Who's the missing man from that list?
His name.
Hmm.
How do you spell it?
Alex Ferguson started the Premier League era as Man United manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is currently in the job. In between, we've had David Moyes, Jose Mourinho, and one other man. What's his name? Sir Alex Ferguson in charge for almost 10,000 days. Just remarkable. On to question 4 then. 5 Kevins with 50 Premier League goals or more. Very prolific first name, Kevin. There's Kevin Davis, Kevin Gallagher, Kevin Nolan, of course, with the chicken dance, and Kevin Phillips. Who's the missing Kevin from that list, though? 5 Kevins with 50 Premier League goals or more. More than 2,000 players have scored in the Premier League, and more than 20 of those scorers were called Kevin, which I find surprising. Only 5 of those Kevins, though, have managed to pass the magic 50-goal number. Davis, Gallagher, Nolan, Phillips, and one other Kevin. And question 5. 5 Premier League players who finished in the Ballon d'Or top 2 since 2000. So they could have been top or the runner-up, but we want Premier League players who finished in the top 2 in Ballon d'Or voting since the turn of the millennium. Michael Owen is one, Thierry Henry is another, Frank Lampard is a third, Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, is on that list as well. One other player is as well. Who is it? A Premier League player to have been top 2 in Ballon d'Or voting since the start of this millennium. Last Premier League player to do that, actually, is the one we're looking for. Alrighty. Well, that flew by round 5. And dare I ask, Steve, how did you feel you did?
No, terrible.
Okay. I daren't ask.
To
All
put
right.
it mildly.
Right. Okay. Chelsea, did you find the spelling for that missing Man United manager?
No, I didn't. I know who it is, but I couldn't spell his name. But it's fine. I know I was right on that, so that's enough for me.
Okay. Well, we'll come to you for that answer, but let's start, Duncan, with the answer to question 1. 5 keepers with the most Premier League clean sheets. Who's the missing man?
That was David James.
Okay. Question 2. What was the other team? Steve, did you get this? The other team that has a name beginning with a vowel that is played in the Premier League.
Yeah, this was the only one I got. Ipswich.
You did. Ipswich is right. You got that as well, Chelsea?
I got that, yeah. Because I remember me
Top
little
work.
sticker books, and and they're not in there no more for my little sister, but I remember them missing.
Brilliant. Duncan, do you have an Ipswich fact for us?
Well, they begin with the letter I, which we've now discovered is a vowel. It's also a key letter in the word 9, which is, they lost 9-0 to Manchester United. So apologies to Ipswich fans who are trying to get over that, but it happened. So yeah.
They say there's no I in team, but there is if you play for Ipswich, of course. That's where that theory falls down. 5 permanent Man United managers in the Premier League. Who was the missing person? Chelsea.
Louis Van Gaal. I can't really say his name, but him.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but to spell reasonably straightforward.
Yeah, I missed the G. It's a silent G in it, but I got it right.
It's not entirely silent. There's a kind of like a guttural kind of. There's a lot of action going on back here. But anyway, I mean, you take that point. You know you got that one.
I'm taking
Question
that.
4.
I'm taking that with me. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Question 4. Who was the missing Kevin, Duncan?
This was Kevin Campbell. Although, for me, I think the Premier League needs the greatest Kevin currently in the game, which is Serie A's Kevin Lasagna, to move to the Premier League. So
that would be great, wouldn't it?
Just a good name, isn't it?
A sub-editor's dream. Unless he goes to Tottenham, because then all sorts of problems could unfold.
True. He's never scored a penny either.
Very nice, very nice. We'll move on. Question 5. 5 Premier League players to finish in Ballon d'Or top 2 since 2000. Who was the missing man? Oh, Chelsea, did you get this one?
I just said Modric, but I don't know. I just guessed.
No, it's Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
How did
Exactly.
I not get that?
I don't know. We're all wondering. Okay, let's have a little look at the scores then. First of all, for Steve and Chelsea. Steve, you're creeping up there. Oh, Chelsea actually picked up 2 points on that round.
I should have got 3. It was me spelling.
Yeah. Okay. 13 plus 1. Excellent. And how about the leaderboard nationwide, Duncan?
Well, the big 3 has become the big 2. Sad to report Steve Didwell slipped slightly in that round. So now we're left with Slosh, Sharon and Aid on 34 out of 35. So, yeah, we enter the final round with drama.
Okay. Just 1 point between our leaders and quite a few points between them and our 2 guests this evening. But maybe that'll all change as we enter the final round, which is all about the 2019-2020 season. So we all know what's happened in this season, huh? We're going to give you 30 seconds to answer these questions. 10 of them there are, all about our current Premier League campaign. Round 6, take it away. Before this season came to a halt, question 1, who was the leading scorer in this 2019-2020 Premier League campaign? 30 seconds to answer all of these, because you need to type the name in. Make sure you put eyes as eyes and wise as wise and all that kind of thing. Top scorer in the Premier League when the season was suspended back in mid-March. Who is it? Question 2. Who has made more assists than any other player in the Premier League so far in 2019-2020? Famous for his quantities of assists. He's currently leading in this category. As we wait for action to resume, we now hear on June the 17th. Who has made more assists than any other player in the Premier League so far? On to question 3. In 2019-2020, who became the first team to complete a league double against a side managed by Jose Mourinho? So this season, somebody became the first team to complete a league double against a team managed by Mourinho. Remarkably, that had never happened before this campaign. But which club did it? Which club beat Jose Mourinho's side home and away? Some major thinking going on there in Casa Sidwell. Question 4. In August, who became the first Brazilian player to reach the milestone of 50 Premier League goals? It's happened all the way back in August, so a long time ago now. But way back at the start of this campaign, one player became the first Brazilian to reach 50 goals in the Premier League. Who is it? I'll give you a clue. He's Brazilian. On to question 5. Which former player took caretaker charge of Everton before Carlo Ancelotti was appointed in December? Just down the road from you there, Chelsea. Carlo Ancelotti took over as the permanent manager of this club, Everton.
Oh no.
But somebody had done a sterling job as caretaker before the widely travelled and hugely successful Italian took charge. Who was it? Question 6. Man United became the first club to score 2,000 Premier League goals during this campaign. Which player scored that milestone goal? Which player's goal took Man United's tally to the magic 2,000 Premier League goal mark in this season? I'll ask that again, it's quite complicated. Man United then became the first club to score 2,000 goals in the Premier League in the course of this campaign. Who scored the milestone goal? Question 7. Simple true or false here. Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli is the highest scoring teenager at a Premier League club in all competitions in 2019-2020. True or false? Gabriel Martinelli at Arsenal, is he the highest scoring teenager at a Premier League club in all competitions in the course of this campaign? Put true if you think he is, false if you think he's not. On to question 8. Manchester City have lost 7 league games in 2019-2020, the most that they've suffered in a single season, or rather the most that Pep Guardiola has suffered in a single season in his entire managerial career. Who, though, were the first team to defeat them in the course of this season? So 7 league games that Man City have lost so far. Who was the first team to beat them in the Premier League this season? Question 9. Who were the last side to register a victory in the 2019-2020 Premier League campaign? Tricky question, this one. Who were the last team to register a victory in the 2019-2020 Premier League campaign before everything was suspended? So it's a question of when the fixture was played, of course. Last side to register a victory in the 2019-2020 Premier League campaign. And finally, for this evening's beautiful quiz, which goalkeeper has kept the most Premier League clean sheets so far in this 2019-2020 season? The clean sheetiest Premier League keeper in this campaign. Who is it? When you've got that in, we can tot up the scores and find out the winner tonight's beautiful quiz.
Oh,
it's over, Chelsea. That's the sound of liberation.
I was enjoying myself, boys. I was enjoying it, I promise.
Brilliant. Nice. Steve, you looked like you were working hard in that round.
Yeah, do you know what? I was nothing short of abysmal in that, if I'm honest.
Really? Okay. Well, let's find out then. Let's compare notes as we whistle through, excuse me, the answers. First of all, before the season came to a halt, Duncan. Oh, actually, let me ask you this, Chelsea and Steve. Who was the leading scorer in the 2019-2020 Premier League season?
Vardy.
Of course, Vardy.
Yeah, I put Vardy.
Well, that's good then. Duncan, who's had more assists than any other player in the Premier League campaign so far?
What a night it is for Kevin's. This one's Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Question 3. 2019-20, who became the first team to complete a league double against the side managed by Jose Mourinho? Remarkable that this had never happened before. But which team managed it this time? Chelsea, do you know?
It's Chelsea, I know. Yeah, I got it wrong though, but I know it's Frank Lampard because I remember there being a massive... I just think I panic. I panic with the time, and then it comes to me.
Right. Okay. Steve?
No, I put Southampton. I don't know why.
Right.
I'm just flustered. Yeah.
Not sure either. Okay. Question 4. In August, who became the first Brazilian player to reach the milestone of 50 Premier League goals? Chelsea?
Firmino. Bobby.
Yes. Bobby Firmino. Duncan, which former player took caretaker charge of Everton before Carlo Ancelotti took over in December? We saw Steve Sidwell struggling with this one, cursing himself because
I was giving
it
him
was there, wasn't it?
I was giving him a tip.
Yeah, do you know what?
Can you
I
get
got
it from the...
cocky
Do
and
the
I put
mime
Alan-
again, Chelsea.
He's big, and he's he's still
Literally, as soon as I clicked the button to submit, I knew it was wrong. I put Alan Stubbs for some reason. As soon as I clicked the button, I knew it was Duncan Ferguson. I knew it was him.
Right. All right, then. Duncan Ferguson. Hey, Duncan.
Yeah, excellent mime from Chelsea because he's one of only 2 players to score a headed hat-trick in Premier League history. So there we go.
Wow.
Who's the other one?
Solomon Rondon.
Oh, nice one. Okay, good. Excellent. We're on to question 6, and that was the one about Man United becoming the first club to score 2,000 Premier League goals. Who scored the milestone? Whose name goes down in history, Duncan?
Minor history goes to Scott McTominay.
Very nice. Okay, the true or false question. Gabriel Martinelli is the highest scoring teenager at a Premier League club in all competitions this season. True or false, Chelsea?
It's probably right because I said false. It was a guess. I don't know why. I just guessed.
Steve?
I put true, but I think it's wrong.
No, I think you're right. I've got everyone wrong.
No, it's false. It's false.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
false.
Although I would like to know who is the highest scoring teenager. Duncan, is it Marcus Rashford?
No, it's Mason Greenwood.
Of course, Mason Greenwood. Okay, question 8 then. Manchester City have lost 7 games in 2019-2020. Who was the first team to defeat them in the league?
Back when it looked like it was going to be a long season for Pep, and sort of turns out it has been, it's Norwich City.
Remarkable stuff, remarkable stuff. The last team to register a victory so far this season, who was that?
That was Watford. So this was the last team to record their first victory of the season. So, yeah, Watford.
Ah, I see. I totally misunderstood the question. Perhaps you did at home. The last team to get their first victory. Right. Okay. And that was Watford. Very nice. Question 10, the final question. Which goalkeeper has kept the most Premier League clean sheets so far this season?
He's
we ask Chelsea and Steve?
infallible. Okay.
No? Okay, you go ahead then.
Oh, I thought we were going to ask.
Okay, I will ask you then, Chelsea.
Well, I only think because I was speaking to him the other day on it. Is it Nick Pope?
Yes, it is Nick Pope. And he's
Oh,
more
that's
excited.
good.
I've got 3 dishes this evening.
And that's because
good.
we done a little FaceTime and he was made up. So, yeah, I knew that one.
Brilliant.
He's
Excellent.
infallible.
Excellent. All right. Well, you know what? That is it. That is the final question, or the final answer for the final question of the final round of tonight's beautiful quiz. So let's have a look at where you guys are standing. Chelsea, you've rocketed up to 18 out of 45.
Not mad at that,
Steve?
James.
Hmm?
I'm not mad at that.
Right. No. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Plus the extra one for Louis van Gaal without the G. So, very respectable indeed. And Steve?
Yeah, the last few rounds done me. I suppose like a Blackburn just plummeted through the leagues and down the leagues, unfortunately. There we
Nice
go.
analogy.
Hey,
Nice
the
analogy.
quiz is the winner. Isn't that right, Chelsea?
Yes, Steve.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. And they're not the only winner because we've got somebody who, or have we got one, or have we got a tie on top of the leaderboard, Duncan?
We've got an outright winner. Steve Didwell isn't the winner, but he did come a creditable joint second, so that's good. But the winner, 3 points clear with an excellent 43, is Aid.
Is Aid?
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Again,
So returning.
could have hoped for more syllables, but there we go. He's trumped.
All right. Okay. He doesn't need any aid because he's already that good. Fantastic stuff. All right. Well, congratulations, Aid. If you feel like giving him a challenge and you didn't register today, make sure next Thursday you get yourself to btsport.com/thebeautifulgame, get your team name in and get competing because it's open to everybody and we welcome all comers. It's been a delight to have Steve and Chelsea with us here this evening.
I love that.
Chelsea? Yeah, you enjoy
Yeah, it
it?
was good. Another loss to my quiz in lockdown, but you know what? It's one of the most enjoyable. So thanks so much, boys, for having me.
Not at all. You're going to be on Friday on FIFA Challenge, I think.
I am. That's where I really shine. If you want to watch me beat Robbie Savage because he's given me so much stick, then join it on Friday, yeah, and I'll do him over.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's a
Chelsea. Make
powerful-
sure you beat Robbie.
I will.
You beat him.
Trust me. That's done.
All right, fantastic. All right, that's FIFA Challenge on Friday. Steve, what have you got planned for the rest of the week?
The rest of the week, well, gladly it's half term, so there's no homeschooling. So I'll have probably a bit of time for myself. A bit of golf, maybe, with this weather.
All right, yeah, well, it certainly is the weather for it. I'm going to go and unload my dishwasher. Duncan, I know you've got something pretty special planned as well. So I'll leave you to get on with that then. Many thanks for your delightful questions this evening, Duncan, and of course the answers. Thank you so much, Chelsea and Steve, for being with us and everybody who took part. We will have another beautiful quiz next Thursday. Hopefully you'll be part of that as well. For now, though, it's have a very super week and we'll see you soon.